Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through and let's pull up some 2023 rookie pick trades. Now, I think this is going to give us a great idea of maybe we should be buying an extra first here. Maybe we should be looking to sell some of our later picks in the draft, just really depending on what the market is dictating we do at this point, because you know it's all about the value. But before we get into it, drop a like, subscribe if you play Dynasty, and if you want to get in a draft with us this year, there's no better time to do so. Underdog just launched a $1 million best ball tournament, and I've been drafting in them every single day. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK with the link in the description or the comment section, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and you're going to get our 2023 Dynasty rankings. But that should be about it. Let's pull up our first trade here. Super small trade. Going to be sending 2 third-round picks for Mike White, operating under the assumption that this is going to be a super flex league, because why else would you be trading for Mike White? Nobody's going to want him in a 1 quarterback format. I would make an argument that in a 1 quarterback league, probably not even worth the roster spot. And at the end of the day, it's up to you. I wish I could sit here and say, okay, I have such strong feelings when it comes to Mike White. I know exactly who he's going to... I don't know. He was pretty good in some games this year. I know he got a lot of hype just because he was essentially anybody but Zach Wilson. I don't know. When you're trading away future thirds, or you're trading away thirds in this year's rookie class, they're not really worth anything. So if you like a player like Mike White, go out there and get him. Who the hell am I to tell you that you shouldn't be doing so? Not necessarily my cup of tea, but it doesn't matter. Now, going over to our next deal, I don't know why, but it seems like DeSean Watson is the player that is traded the most in these videos that we are making. And if we're looking at it, it's DeSean Watson, David Njoku, who I actually like at the tight end position this year, but of course, he's such a small piece of this overall deal. And the future 2024 first round pick for the 103 and the 105. If we're just going through and thinking about what that 103, 105 may end up being, it's probably like, say, Bryce Young, and then maybe a Jackson Smith-Njigba. Who knows? Maybe it ends up being a CJ Stroud and Jahmyr Gibbs. At this point, it's very difficult to know exactly who those players are. It's good to know exactly what tiers we will be looking at. However, so if you're getting 2 pretty damn good rookies, I think it's almost a fair trade. If I'm going to be looking at DeSean Watson versus the 103, I'm actually probably going to prefer DeSean Watson there, even if you really like Bryce Young. I think the ceiling Watson's demonstrated at the position is going to be very hard to find in this year's rookie class. And if we're looking at the 105 versus the future first, now give me the 105. I mean, with that future first, we don't know if it's going to be the 111, the 112. It's an extra year out, so automatically we should be discounting it. So I think it's a fair trade. I mean, I think that you could almost go in either direction if you're a rebuilder or a contender. So I'm sorry to do this out the gate, but 2 deals we've looked at, both very fair trades where I'm not really going to even be picking a side there. But now going over to our next one, this is going to be a Bijan Robinson trade where someone trades away Bijan Robinson and they get back 2 future first round picks. They get back the 201, the 203, and the 204. I will say, hook 'em Lawrence, you know I love my guy Bijan. But at the same time, I think this makes a ton of sense for people with the 101. If you find yourself sitting there at the 101 and you realize, okay, well, I have the worst team in the league. There's a reason that I just earned the first overall pick. I'm not going to be able to compete regardless of if I have Bijan Robinson or not. Then what are we doing here? Should we be going all in? Should we be looking to take Bijan Robinson at 1 regardless? No, it's probably a pretty good idea to continue to stack up maybe some upside shots with rookies later in this draft, and at the same time, future first round picks down the road. So if you're a team that just earned the 101 and the rest of your roster is full of bums, I actually really like this trade for you. But now moving over to our next deal, this is going to be staying in line with what you may end up seeing when you're trading away future first round picks. And if you are new to the flock, I say it all the time, while it is so fun to go out there and build a juggernaut team on paper by trading away your 2024, trading away your 2025 first round pick, it is the quickest way to put yourself in a hole to devastate a dynasty roster to the point of no return. We're looking at a trade that someone sent 2 years ago. Made this deal 2 years ago. They traded away Marlon Mack and a future third for a first round pick in this rookie class. I just want to highlight this and essentially use it as a warning for everybody who thinks, hell, I have a juggernaut team. I can afford to trade away my 2025 first round pick. It's not going to impact me in this. Don't do it. Please, 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 please. Don't trade away your 2025 first. Don't trade away your 2026 first whenever we get to this summer. I just hate seeing it. In my mind, I don't even think Dynasty League should allow it. Now, going over to our next deal, we're going to be looking at Elijah Moore and James Cook for the 105 and a third. Now, I actually have found myself drafting the hell out of James Cook in best ball leagues on Underdog this offseason. I've been in that $1 million draft contest, like I was saying. We're getting James Cook in the 9th round right now, which I really like considering he's the only running back under contract in Buffalo. But at the same time, it's not like James Cook is the guaranteed starting running back. It's not like he's guaranteed to get every touch. We know they're going to bring in competition. We don't know who. We don't know how much they're going to invest into the position. But if we're going to be looking at the 105 versus James Cook and Elijah Moore, give me the 105. I'm not thinking about this in the slightest. I don't care if this is going to be a super flex league. I don't care if this is going to be a one quarterback league. You may end up finding Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith in Jigba, Jahmyr Gibbs falling to that 105 pick. We don't know at this time. And with James Cook, while I like the situation he may find himself in, at the end of the day, he's an extremely small running back that is going to have severe limitations. But now going over to our next spot, someone traded away CeeDee Lamb for Jerry Jeudy and the 103 in Superflex. Now, y'all know I spent all last offseason, all the offseason before that, talking about how Courtland Sutton was the most overrated player in Dynasty, that Courtland Sutton had never posted a top 24 wide receiver finish at the position on a per game basis, yet people were treating him as if he was an alpha wide receiver one. In my mind, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. And for that reason, I mean, we've gotten so much hate for our takes on Courtland Sutton, where we were saying Jerry Jeudy was the actual wide receiver one in this roster. So I've been pegged as the Jerry Jeudy guy. And I've seen Jerry Jeudy have a decent amount of steam as of late, to where I know with Jerry Jeudy in Dynasty, you would be able to flip him for a first round pick. If you have Jeudy on your roster, I am confident that you can find someone in your league to get a 2024 first round pick from. So if you're in a situation where you're telling me, Mason, you know what? I'm not going to contend regardless. If I can trade CeeDee Lamb for the 103 Jerry Jeudy and then flip Jerry Jeudy into another 2024 first, I actually like that idea. I don't love the idea of trading for Jerry Jeudy and then holding on to him for the long term, because I think he's actually going to be in a tougher spot in Denver this next year with the additional wide receiver depth that they're going to have. But I mean, I think it's a fair trade to say the least, and I could see it taking either side if I was a rebuilder or a contender. But now our next deal, someone traded away Terry McLaurin, the 406, for Kadarius Toney and the 211. I mean, just like Courtland Sutton, Terry McLaurin's been someone I've been hating on for a very long time now. But come on, I'm taking Terry McLaurin here. I'm not even thinking about it. Yes, Kadarius Toney looked good in the Super Bowl. Yes, Kadarius Toney probably, I don't want to say won them that game, but was a large reason why they win that game. Obviously, the punt return, the receiving touchdown to go along with it. But what are we talking about here? Kadarius Toney's never been good in fantasy. He's going into year 3. While, yeah, they don't really have anybody under contract, at the end of the day, the man cannot stay healthy. He played like, I want to say 15 snaps in the Super Bowl. Just take Terry McLaurin. I'm not even a big McLaurin guy, but the 211 and the 4th round pick, they have no impact on this whatsoever. Now, looking at our next deal, trading away Joshua Palmer and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a 2nd round pick in this rookie class. I am not going to be opposed to this. With Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it is very difficult to assume that he has any value whatsoever going forward. If you're looking at CEH, this is a running back that was inactive during the Super Bowl. This is a running back that right now on Underdog is literally going as like the running back 70, running back 80. You can get him in the very last round. So if you can cash out for a 2nd round pick, if you're not a big Joshua Palmer guy, I'm fine with it, assuming it's a super flex league and an early 2nd. But now our next deal, I mean, you got Chris Olave for Amari Cooper in an early 2nd. I don't care. It's Chris Olave with Amari Cooper, one of my favorite players of all time. I mean, Oakland Raider Amari Cooper, I was in love with as a rookie and a sophomore because I fell in love with Dynasty Fantasy Football in 2014. I was addicted beyond measure. I promise you I was way more addicted to Dynasty at the 2015 through 2017 range than you've ever been in your entire life. And yeah, I fell in love with Amari, love Amari. Used to have an Amari Cooper Raiders jersey hanging up in the studio. Love the man, but at the end of the day, he was drafted in 2015, even if he is still surprisingly young, even if he's still the wide receiver one on paper for DeSean Watson. Chris Olave just came in and had an amazing rookie season. A lot of people are saying that Chris Olave should have been in the mix for offensive rookie of the year. He's a great prospect coming out of Ohio State as well. So I really like the Olave side. Now going over to our next deal, very interesting, where we're going to be looking at Jamar Chase, the 110, for Tua, the 106, and the 103. So we have a couple more data points with this. The team that traded for Tua really had nobody at the quarterback position. It is a 10-team Superflex league. So if we're breaking this down, I mean, hell, the 103, let's call it Bryce Young. 106, we'll go Jordan Addison. So would you rather have Jamar Chase and the 110, or Tua, Bryce Young, and Jordan Addison? I would say, honestly, with this being a 10-team league where depth isn't going to matter nearly as much as it would in a 12-team league where you're having to start 11 or 12 guys, give me the stud. Give me Jamar Chase. I mean, if we were to remove the 110 from that side of the deal, and then at that point, I think it would be a very fair trade. And I think, honestly, I'd probably take the Tua side, because if I'm viewing Jamar Chase in that 10-team Superflex league, I need to be getting equivalent of 3 first-round picks in return for him. I would make the argument that Tua is worth a single first. You're getting the 103, the 106, but you're also having to give up a first-round pick as well. So I'm going to prefer keeping the stud here. If I'm trading away Jamar Chase, the other owner better be overpaying. I feel like they aren't. So like I said, if you did not include the 110, give me the Tua side with the 110 included. It's not enough for me to move on from Chase. But now going over to our next deal, going to be another stud here with Saquon Barkley. A little bit different. Obviously, Barkley drafted in 2018, going into his second contract at the running back position for the 105 and a future first as well. Great trade, way to cash out, just get the rookie picks. I mean, going and hitting that reset button on the running back position before it's too late, while you were able to get the elite level production from Barkley this past season, and before we come anywhere close to the cliff, before people are talking about a cliff, hitting the reset button, maybe drafting Jahmyr Gibbs of the 105, and then with that future first round pick, taking another swing at the running back position, trying to backfill that production that you lost from Saquon Barkley. Rondale Moore is literally nothing at this point. I actually really liked Rondale Moore coming out of Purdue, just not going to work out. So I think this is like the perfect illustration of how to cash out on a veteran running back and just hit that reset clock. Now, our next trade is going to be a Justin Herbert deal, very similar to the Jamar Chase one, where you were moving Chase for 3 first-round picks, but you were also including the 110. Here, you're moving away Herbert for 3 first-round picks, but you're including the 109. Now, the big difference in this trade is instead of it being the 103, the 105, and Tua, it's the 101, 103, and a future first. So at that point, I mean, I would say Bijan Robinson, Justin Herbert, kind of in the same tier. Like, I understand, yes, we all want Justin Herbert in Superflex, but Bijan Robinson's very exciting on Underdog right now. He's literally going at the 1-2 turn in redraft leagues. I mean, if we're going to be looking at the 103, though, hell, obviously you want the 103 over the 109. I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty confident in that. And you're getting a future first round pick on top of it. Like, if we wanted to break it down, would you rather have Justin Herbert or Bijan Robinson and a 2025 first? You probably want Bijan Robinson in a 2025 first. And then would you rather have the 103 or the 109? Obviously you want the 103. So yeah, if you got Bijan there, phenomenal deal. Now going over to our last trade, T. Higgins and the 108 for Kyle Pitts. At this point, I think we have to prefer T. Higgins over Kyle Pitts, right? Even if this is tight end premium, it doesn't matter. Give me T. Higgins in the 108. If it was a start 2 tight end league, then at that point, maybe we can say, okay, well, tight ends are going to be so hard to come by. We would rather have Kyle Pitts over T. Higgins straight up, but then you include the 108. I'm still taking the T. Higgins side. With Pitts, London actually kind of dominated the target share there. Yes, the main issue was there was no passing volume in the offense, which hopefully that is corrected this next season. But even if it is, we may end up seeing Drake London be the top target. Now, I think that's all I got for y'all. If you enjoyed the video, please go down there, drop a like, subscribe if you play Dynasty, and of course, if you want to get in a draft with us, you can find the link to Underdog in the comment section in the description. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and you'll get our 2023 Dynasty rankings. But thank you again. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great day, and hope we get to see you with the video tomorrow.